So what is a SAP? For those people that are watching, you'll hear that term kind of used in our workplaces, SAP or SAP. So tell me a little bit more about what a SAP is and really the roots of the SAP and what their role is.
Sure. So a SAP is a qualified substance abuse professional. And, there's some confusion out there as to, what a SAP is versus what a SAE would be, a substance abuse expert. So I thought maybe I'd just share what some of the prerequisites of a SAP might be. And I'll actually refer to some notes here. So, prerequisites to be a SAP would include being a licensed physician, a licensed or certified social worker, licensed or certified psychologist, licensed or certified employee assistance professional, licensed or certified marriage or family therapist, and a drug and alcohol counselor certified by an organization. So, but the key point there is to know that alone does not make you a SAP. So people with those prerequisites can be a substance abuse expert. And the big difference there between a substance abuse expert versus a SAP or a qualified substance abuse professional is the specialized safety component.
Absolutely.
And protecting workplace and public safety versus kind of employee-centered processes unconditionally. So, some other things for people to know here too. So a SAP must also, over and above those prerequisites, they have to have actual direct clinical experience in the addiction field.
Okay.
They have to submit proof of core hours, have clinically supervised hours. They have to complete specialized DOT SAP training, have to pass DOT SAP exam.
I've heard that's a very difficult exam. I've heard of that.
Yeah, well, I know of some people that struggle to get that for sure. And they have to be knowledgeable about SAP function, like I mentioned, protecting the safety of the traveling public or workplace safety. So they got to be up on DOT and they got to stay current as well. So, the substance abuse experts, it's good. Maybe people don't know, but like as far as addiction counselor, just to give some information about that is 99% of addiction counselors, at least in Saskatchewan anyway, I think it's similar in Alberta actually, are not certified. So it's really easy for people to kind of hang a shingle or say that they provide services in these areas. But for employers who are looking for anything that pertains to safety or protecting workplace safety, managing these things, ensuring people are compliant, there could be some value for using a substance abuse professional or those services for sure. DOT qualified SAPs are they're the gold standard for return to duty processes and are specifically trained to protect workplace and public safety. So unlike SAEs.
Awesome. Well, I think that kind of, in that same vein, that's why, from my perspective as a service provider, when I have organizations reaching out to me for support, I like to use an SAP. I have had employers reach out and ask me about using something like a public service. So like Alberta Health Services Addiction Services, or having that employee go to a physician for assessment. And I think while both of those groups have definite benefits and there's things that they're great at and that they focus on, I find that they often don't have the same background with safety sensitive workplaces that you as an SAP would have. So I think that's a really important component because it isn't just about assessing the individual, right? Obviously that's a key part, but then it's figuring out recommendations for that safe return to work. And you have to have an understanding of safety sensitive workplaces, I think, to do that effectively.
Yeah, I think you said that well. And, I can't speak to the public services, right? Because I still maintain a public practice as well. And, lots of great services there for what the services are intended for.
Absolutely.
The biggest differences would be, employee-centered services versus safety-centered and safety-sensitive employer-centered services. So
absolutely,
that's differences between the two hats.
For sure. Yeah, I've had employers who have sent their workers to say like Alberta Health Services, public option. And one of the things that we received back was basically, a letter saying, yes, this person attended for an assessment and we recommended some counseling. So, while that's great for the employee, right, the worker, they're actually getting some support, and that's excellent. From the employer perspective, it doesn't really give them any information to help them decide, are we returning this person to work? At what juncture are they going to be safe to return to work? And how do we ensure their safety when they do return? So I think those are great options for things like counseling, right? Where people are going to get education, they're going for support. But I think in terms of actually the assessment and help with return to work, I personally find, using a SAP to be the more effective route for the most part.
Yeah, like I could imagine you'd think as an employer or a human resource professional, situations present themselves, right? And what they might be looking for are an actual framework with more specific information to help them guide, accommodation or support or discipline in a legal fashion.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Thank you so much to Scott for providing that enlightening information about the SAP's role and qualifications. Stay tuned to the next in this interview series, where we'll be talking with Scott again about how the SAP process applies to Canadian employers. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.